I'd like to begin this video by sharing with you this quote. Quote, "They applied these principles over a 2-year period, and 9 out of 10 people showed a reversal in cognitive decline." End quote. Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Baretosh of Proactive Wellness and Injury Center in Danville, Illinois, and I'd like to share with you information regarding research that's been done that has left me ecstatic, because it's just confirming what we've been achieving for many of our patients over the following years. However, now it's empirical. And let me lay a foundation for you here. For the past 15, 20 years, when the baby boomers were polled regarding health issues, their number one concern regarding their health was developing cancer or some type of cancer. However, since about the mid-2000s and beyond, when the baby boomers have been polled, that fear of developing cancer has now been replaced with developing Alzheimer's or senile dementia. That's the number one fear now regarding their health issues. And that's what this is about. Now, please forgive me because I'm going to be referring to this report quite a bit, so I'll be reading from it so as to quote it specifically and not make any errors. However, in September of 2014, in the Journal of Aging, it says it this way in an article that was titled "Reversal of Cognitive Decline." Now, before we go on, let me explain what we're talking about here. The reversal of cognitive decline has to do with people, and I'm not being insensitive here in any way, but the people literally over time that are losing their minds. What I'm talking about here is their ability to articulate or speak. They're losing that. They're losing their ability to maintain their balance in their environment, or they may be losing their coordinative abilities, and they're also losing their memory, short-term and going into long-term memory. And now we know that Alzheimer's has 7 stages to it. But this is talking about that reversing the loss of their mind or their mental abilities over time. And it says there it's a novel therapeutic program. Quote, "In the case of Alzheimer's disease, there is not a single therapeutic that exerts anything beyond a marginal, unsustained symptomatic effect with little or no effect on disease progression. Furthermore, in the past decade alone, hundreds of clinical trials have been conducted for Alzheimer's disease at an aggregate cost of billions of dollars without success." End quote. So what they're saying here is that regarding the ability of reversing this loss of their minds, that there was a novel therapeutic program, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But in the case of Alzheimer's, they're saying there's not a single therapeutic. Now, what they're referring to are these drugs and medications that you're being told about in the TV commercials to buy. And you know, the caregivers, with a sense of empathy and sympathy, they're wanting to do whatever they can for their loved one who is in the throes of Alzheimer's, and they're saying that not one single drug that the public is being told to purchase for Alzheimer's, or the drugs now that they're talking about that supposedly supercharge the already medication that the person is on. You know, it boosts the power of the former drug. That they're saying that there's not a single drug that exerts anything beyond a marginal, unsustained symptomatic effect with little or no effect on disease progression. What they're saying is that these drugs don't help at all. Marginally, maybe a little bit, but not much. And the benefit that is enjoyed is short-lived indeed. And furthermore, they're saying that in the past decade or the last 10 years or so, hundreds of clinical trials have been conducted for Alzheimer's disease at an aggregate cost of billions, with a B, of dollars without success. There's been no success in using these drugs at all. Now, they go on to say, though, that this article also combines multiple wellness approaches. And this is what what basically we, not only in our center, but there are other centers that are doing this, that they've applied these principles that have been used over a 2-year period. And listen, this is so exciting, that they have substantiated that now 9 out of 10 people showed a reversal, not only an arresting, a stopping of their loss of their minds, but they've been able to reverse this loss in cognitive decline. 6 out of 10 were either severely struggling in this research. 6 out of 10 were severely struggling with their job and had to quit due to memory or their cognitive loss. However, all 6 were able either to return to work or dramatically increase work performance. This is wonderful. And also, listen, some people in this study that were losing their minds, they were able to learn new languages, were able to add columns of numbers in their head, but all 9, the 9 out of the 10, reported significant changes in memory. This is fantastic. Let me explain this to you, what's going on. See, because our mantra is that the body is fearfully and wonderfully made. And when the good Lord created you, He put within you an innate ability for the body, and all healing comes from within. It never comes from outside the body. So the healing doesn't occur through the drugs or through the surgeries. It occurs by what the body has been created to do. And your body is in a constant state of repair. Your body is in a constant state of regeneration and renewal. So let me explain it this way. In the bones, we have 2 processes that go on. One is called osteoblastic, that is the rebuilding of bone, and the other is osteoclastic, that's the tearing down of bone. Now, in a healthy body that's functioning at its full potential, the osteoblastic, the rebuilding process of bone, is far greater than the osteoclastic or tearing down process of bone. But the osteoclastic process is absolutely necessary. I want you to know that, because you see, as the cells are being replaced, the older cells are dying off and they have to be cleaned out. So the body does so in the osteoclastic, but the renewal, the new cells, are being added by the osteoblastic. So as long as the blastic is greater than the clastic, you're going to have healthy bones. However, in a situation where a body is not well, where it's not functioning at its full potential, the osteoclastic, the tearing down of the bone, is greater than the rebuilding of the bone, and you have disorders or diseases known as osteopenia, which, if not addressed, develops or matures into osteoporosis, and now you have that problem. But the good news here is that that can be totally prevented, and it can be totally reversed. You can do something about it. And if you'd like more information, why, I might invite you to preview or view one of our earlier videos where we dedicated the information specifically to that. But here, what we want to do is to use the same example in talking about the brain, because the brain for many years was thought never to rebuild itself. Once the brain cells were lost, we thought that they were gone. The brain didn't repair itself. However, we were wrong, and research has now shown that indeed the entire body is in a process of rebuilding itself or regenerating itself. And it does, though. So, you know, in the brain, you see those little sparks. You've seen diagrams of the brain where you have these little synapses, where you have these little things, and the spark flies across from one to the other. That's the electrical conduction. Those are the synaptic connections, if you will. Well, in the brain, we found out there is a synaptoblastic, that's the rebuilding of the synapses, and the synaptoclastic, or the tearing down. And as long as the synoblastic process is greater than the synoclastic process, the rebuilding is greater than the cleaning out of the old cells is greater, then the brain is going to stay healthy, it's going to stay viable, and it's going to be functioning at its fullest potential. However, when the body is in a state of degradation, where it's not functioning at its fullest potential, then the synaptoclastic, or the tearing down, the breakdown of these synapses, becomes greater than the rebuilding of those, the synaptoblastic process. Then we have the loss of the brain function. The good news is it's totally preventable. It is absolutely totally preventable, which now has been validated by this research. As I said, that not only we, but other centers have been accomplishing for their patients as well. Now look, what you've got to do is this. How do you do it? Well, I'm about to tell you. What we do in our center and what's done in others is that you have to specifically identify what's going on in each individual. And you can do so through specific blood testing to identify what's happening in the body, and thereby create a specific nutritional program that is designed for the individual that sits before you, so that you can address those problems specifically for that person. Also, we add to this at least 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of sleep every day, because during sleep, that's when the majority of the regenerative, reparative processes continue. That's when you shut the body down. You're not engaged in all the stresses of the day. The motors, the different capacities or systems of the body can shut down. Now they're resting, and the body can concentrate its energies and its efforts on rebuilding what has been torn down, repairing what has been damaged, and re-energizing in the areas where energy's been lost. So sleep is critically important. We also want to add to that exercise throughout the week. We've become a sedentary society, folks. Most of what we do is from a seated position, whether we're eating, whether we're even entertaining, going to and from work, while at work. Even many of us, when we're sleeping, we're doing so in a sitting position. You know, you fall asleep in the recliner only to get up and lay in bed and toss and turn because you can't sleep. So we've got to be active, we've got to be engaged, we've got to be mobile. Also, we've got to reduce our stress. You know, we live in the most stress-laden societies, and we've got to reduce the stresses on the body physically. We do so through the structural integrity. You get it through chiropractic care. You've got to reduce the stresses chemically on the body, and we do that, and it can be done through specific detoxification protocols and programs. And we also have the mental stresses, and we do so by spiritually, by looking to your Creator, looking to God, and casting all of your cares upon Him, knowing that He cares for you. And you do so also by optimizing your diet, by clean eating, by eating real food instead of the processed packaged garbage that's being sold today and consumed by many people. And also by fasting, which we'll talk about in another video. But folks, when you combine all of these aspects together, health is not achieved by simply exercising. It's not achieved by simply eating the right foods. It's not achieved by simply going to this doctor and getting this type of care. But it's a combination, it's a recipe, it's doing all things correctly. And when you do this, folks, you can expect then the body to function at its highest potential. You can enjoy health, you can enjoy life. And folks, when you're sick, living is not fun at all. So for those of you who may have a family member, and now statistically we're seeing that 1 out of 3 families has a member or knows somebody in their family surroundings that's being attacked by Alzheimer's, that's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, I want you to know that you can find a practitioner, a holistic practitioner, an alternative practitioner, however they're called, I don't know. But you can find a doctor, do research, find doctors that are aware of these processes, and go to them and sit down and talk with them. He or she can certainly help you out, folks. If you have health, you have hope. But if you don't have health, you don't have any hope. Folks, we're giving you some hope here. We're showing you now this research is validating what we've been accomplishing for years, achieving for years. And now there's some empirical information upon which to stand. There's something now that we have that we can voice against all the pharmaceutical companies who've been attempting to educate you into thinking that your only hope was a drug. Folks, your hope lies within. It's in the human body. Go back to the basics. Find doctors that are doing that. And look, if you can't find any in your area, please feel free to contact us. Maybe we can help you out long distance, or we can direct you to a facility in your area that you may not know about. I hope that this information has been beneficial to you, because our goal is to equip you with information that will help you to achieve the best performance of your life, and in this case not only your life, because you need to do something about your health before some of these things start to happen to you or in the life of a loved one. And if you have found it beneficial, please, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Proactive Wellness. And if you do have any questions or any comments, well, we'd love to hear from you. And again, we want to thank you for taking the time now for listening and viewing to what we've had to say. I hope that you'll share this information with others, because by doing so, you're going to be benefiting their future, their life, their health. Again, we want to thank you. And until our next video, as always, God bless.